We pay to keep our politicians fighting. How do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
Hey, it's Larry Sharp here on A Free Solution. So happy to have you here with me this afternoon. I know you're saying, Larry, I think I saw you before. You were on that cool show, The Sharp Way. Yeah, it's true. But not now. I'm with you. WYSL, Rochester, New York, on A Free Solution. So happy to have you with me today. Some of you may know a bit about my background, a little bit of a story. Are you guys hearing an echo? I'm hearing one. I hope you're not.
It's fixed.
So let me tell you a little bit about my background. Some of you know. When I was younger, little kid, baby, I was adopted. My biological parents gave me up for adoption, and my adopted parents took me in, and when I was 2 years old, they got divorced. So the man who raised me, Sharp, divorced my mom. My mom connected with another man whose name was Ronald. Everybody called him Ronnie. He's the man who raised me. He's the man who, when I talk about my father, I mean him. That's the man that I mean when I say father. He was absolutely not my biological father, but didn't matter to me, didn't care. He's the man who was there for me when I was young. He's the man who taught me how to be a man. And when he died, when he died, when I was a kid, it was devastating. I guess that was a Freudian slip saying when I died. So yes, without question, it was devastating for me. My father had died. Affected me tremendously, as it would affect anybody who lost their parent when they're young. So years later, I'm about 30, 29, 30 years old, maybe 28, 29, 30 years old. I decide, you know what? Let me go look and try to find a little bit of my family, right? Let me go back and try to find my father, my adopted father. But here's the key that I don't tell everybody, everyone doesn't know. My mother lied to me. She told me that I wasn't adopted. She lied the entire time. So I believed she was my biological mother, that my biological father divorced and left, and that the man who raised me, Ronnie, was my stepfather, but I considered him my father. I know, getting confusing, but I'm going to go somewhere with this. Stay with me. So as I get older, and now I'm in my 20s, late 20s, and I say, you know, let me go see about my family. Go find the other family. And I said, the logic is, you know what? I'm getting older. I'm 30. Maybe I should know about my health, or those types of things. Let me go see if I can reconnect. Let me try this. And I tell my mom this. She says, you may not want to do that. And I'm like, why? Why in the world would I not want to do that? That doesn't make any sense, right? Of course I would. She says, Larry, I got to tell you something. You were adopted. Yes, I found out like that when I was like 30 years old. What? What do you mean? I'd ask you many times. We had this conversation many times. You lied to me for 30 years? Multiple times I brought up stuff? Multiple times? The answer to that question would be yes. Now you might think, Larry, you must have been furious. You must have been so angry to find out that you were adopted when you were 30, not when you were 3 or 13 or after your father passed or any of those things. But I wasn't. I wasn't angry. I mean, you might think I was, but I wasn't. The reality of it is, I was disappointed. That's true. Why I was disappointed? Because I'm adopted and not biological? No, didn't care about that. Didn't care at all. What I was disappointed in was my mother, and that in some way she thought that lying to me was the answer, and that at no point did she think that telling the truth was the right answer. And I asked her later, I said, what if I had never done this? What if I'd never, said I was going to go look for him? What then? She said, I probably would have left you a note when I died. That actually made me even more concerned. Like, wow, that would have been your answer? That's the answer? So why would my mother not be transparent? And here's the part that I said to her. I literally told her, I said, why would you think I wouldn't accept you as my mom? I said to my father as my father, and I knew he wasn't my biological father. I worshiped him. I adored him. When he died, I was devastated. I still call him my father to this day, knowing that he is not my biological father. And she knew this. So why would I treat you any differently, knowing you're not my biological mother? You raised me, right? Why would I not do that? Haven't I proved that to you? But she was afraid. She thought I might leave her. She thought I might be angry at her. She was afraid. And later on in life, I understand. Earlier, I didn't. What I mean by that? Again, some of you know my past. My mom was an addict and also a felon. And when she came out of prison, I kind of was her only support structure at that point. But I was in my 20s by then, early 20s by then. And at that point, she was probably afraid that if she made a mistake or said something bad, that she might lose me or lose her support structure. I guess I could understand that fear. I could. But what about when I was a teenager? What about when I was in high school? My father already died. When I was in the Marine Corps. Any of those times. How about that? Any of those could have been interesting times, right? To do that. So yes, but none of them. Not one. Always because the issue that we're always going to have is that, oh, have we lost sound? My chat is telling me we've lost sound. What am I hope I don't know. Engineer, can you hear me? My chat's telling me that we've lost sound. Okay, I guess we've lost sound. I'm not sure where that is. I'm just going to keep going, and we'll just go. So perhaps we've lost sound, perhaps we haven't. I'm just going to keep going. So the reason why I tell you this entire story, why would I tell this story? Is because the reason why my mother didn't tell me the truth, the reason why she wasn't transparent was because of fear. That was the entire reason. Fear made her think the wrong way. Fear made her think that fear made her think that transparency was the wrong answer, that lying was okay. I know. We all fear that. We all have a worry or a problem when we're afraid. People who are afraid make bad decisions. My mother did too. Knowing that transparency in the long run is always the right answer. But in the short run, because of fear, we don't tell the truth. We're not transparent. Why in the world do you see me constantly? Every time you see me, I'm always talking about my background, who I am, why I think the way I do, what I think, all of those things. I am grossly transparent. Sometimes to my detriment, I'm sure. But it's because I'm not afraid. It's because I know that whatever might be in my past or in my future or my present, if I'm going to be out there and try to get you to believe me and try to get you to respect me, it's going to come out. So I might as well just say it now. I might as well just get it out there and accept it. Because the reality of it is, transparency is always a better answer. Even though sometimes it will really, really suck up front. But man, in the long run, nothing but good. It's the right answer. But not just for me and my mom. For all of us, our family, our friends, our communities, and our governments. Am I wrong? Let me know. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharp, WYSL, Rochester, New York, on the Free Solution. Back with your call and your chat after the break.
Your business relies on computers.
Hey Larry, at the start of the show, I forgot to mute my feedback to you. That's why the echo happened. We didn't lose any connection with you. Maybe your upload for your video got compromised.
Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and
Good.
network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure.
Can we have a caller? Keith from Rochester?
Simple Tech Innovation
You're welcome.
should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Hey, this is Kevin Wilson, host of A Free Solution. You ever need a tool for just one project, but didn't want to spend the cash for something you'd use just once or twice? Well, there's a new tool library in Rochester where you can borrow just the thing you need instead of buying a new one. It's called the Tool Shed from the Southeast Area Coalition, and membership starts at just $25 a year. Use it for home projects or to support your business. Learn more and become a member at seektoolshed.org. That's SEAC toolshed.org.
Only available in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com. Official top quality tees, hoodies, and coffee mugs depicting the colorful WYSL logo or the already famous Mount Rushmore line of merch depicting Mount Rushmore style are for worst presidents. Of course, you know who is front and center up on that mountain. WYSL official items make perfect gifts, or they're a great way for you to make a personal statement. Locally produced and sold only in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com.
A Free Solution on the WYSL stations.
It is Larry Sharp back here on A Free Solution, WYSL, Rochester, New York. And if you like what I'm talking about, you can actually listen to the show 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 1 p.m. right here, WYSL, or follow us on our Facebook page or YouTube page, A Free Solution. Absolutely. I want to get to a call if I can. I'm going to grab Keith from Rochester. How are you, sir?
Where I am, we've heard your complete presentation, so whatever you're going through. Well, we got you here completely.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I agree with you because I'm going to run with this like a football. People lie because out of fear, they don't want their true selves to come through. The much
Yes.
larger problem today is that if you try and stand up and tell the truth, especially when you know you're being lied, you're quickly beaten down. I'll give an example. Senator Schumer was around here locally saying, lying through his teeth, that because of supply chain problems, energy prices will be going up. Well, I got news for lying Schumer. It's because Biden policy not allowing drilling and killing off our energy industry. Now, if you go to the likes of Schumer on the left, you will be doxxed, you will be beaten down, you will be followed,
Yes.
you might even lose your job. So, what do you say to all Americans who would like to stand up and tell truth, but know that they are going to be followed and flat out beaten down? That has been my experience, sir, with our fellow Americans. They can't speak up. They fear that they can't for the further fear that they will be knocked around, that the horrible left, and I mean the horrible left, birds like Schumer and all these Democrats, whatever they identify themselves out, for me, flat out Marxists and traitors, the left, everyone, the worst entity ever created in our
Well,
country, the Democrat Party, today is an enemy of the American people. They've gone Stalinist. They will not allow the
well,
American people to
let me
speak
grab
up.
this, Keith. Let me grab what your question. And you have a valid point. And if telling the truth was easy, everybody would do it. You're right. It's not easy. People don't want to hear it. People get upset when they hear it. So there are two parts to this I'm going to bring up. The first one is you can tell the truth without being a jerk. There is a difference between telling the truth and being unnecessarily open or unnecessarily mean, right? So, for example, the old classic one, if you're a traditional, husband and wife team, and the wife says, "How do I look?" and she doesn't look good, you could say, "You look terrible," which might be honest. That might be the truth. But wow, was that mean? Or you could say something like, "Hey, how can you accessorize that? How can you make it look better?" Both are telling the truth. One's not being a jerk. So that's piece one. And that's more important when chatting with the average person than anything else. But the second part you bring up is even stronger. You're right. When you tell the truth, a lot of people won't like it. But here's the worst part. When you tell truth to power, power doesn't like it. And power will punish you. And the sad part is, so will people around power who want to be near power. They will also punish you to show the power how loyal they are. Someone once said on this show they were worried that one day the people gonna come by in the white vans and pick people up, and they're afraid of that. I said, I'm not afraid of the people in the white van because there's more of us than them. What I'm worried about is the next door neighbor who calls the people in the white van to come take me away. So your point is stronger than I think you made it. I'm going to make it stronger than you. It's not just the Chuck Schumers of the world. It's all the people around Chuck Schumer on top of it who want to be part of him or go back to fear, don't want to be the target. So they'd rather have you, Keith, be the target because it's not them. And they know they're going to be targeted. So let's point the finger at Keith. This way, it's not me. Did I go too far, Keith?
I'm trying to go even further because you started off by talking about little old white lies that people just say to be nice to someone
Yep.
so they won't hurt their feelings. I'm saying, without being naive and foolish, I do believe, and I hope I'm not foolish, that many people would like to be able to tell the truth. But if you try in modern day America today, you will be savagely beaten down by the
Yep.
left who does not want to hear it. Look, if you're conservative, try going on these high tech companies like Facebook and Google and
Yeah.
all the rest of malarkey. You, as a conservative, will not get your voice out. They will take you right out. You won't even get on the air. You'll be more than censored. You'll be lucky if you get anything out. So this is the problem. The liberals in Silicon family, whether it's the big high-tech people, all of it, we are losing our First Amendment rights. I'm saying to all of the audience, wake up, you're losing your First Amendment rights of free speech. If you go on college campuses, they have safe areas. All the students, the snowflakes, they don't want to hear the truth. Get away from me. There used to be a maximum.
Well, let me go one step further here. I know you're hammering the left. And at this point, you're right. It's far worse the left than the right. You're totally correct. If you go back 40, 50 years, the right was worse than the left. Back maybe in the 70s or 60s when they were trying to stop people from protesting Vietnam and stuff like that. But now it is clearly the left worse than the right. Not even close. It is night and day. But it's also the elite of the right. How do I know? Because you know who sued me off the ballot? It wasn't the left. It was the Conservative Party here in New York State. It was the Republican Party here in New York State. When I'm trying to tell them the truth of what's happening, I'm trying to explain things. Even they got on me and got rid of me. So I think it does shift left and right. And now you are right. The left is far worse than the right. But the establishment is bad in general. You see it with the establishment trying to stop anyone, even on the right, who's not what they would consider mainstream right. You will see the establishment right try to fight them too. So I think you do find a lot of people trying to shut down anything that goes against whatever is the norm of the day.
Swamp Republicans obviously don't like Trump, who's trying to get rid of the swamp. But the point is, as bad as that is, and if you go ask Trump, it could be mightily bad because there are just no Trumpers all over the place. But I fear, and I can't go back and change the Vietnam years insofar as when the hard hats, when Nixon asked the hard hats to go out and beat up the hippies. I can't change that. I'm saying in closing, it's never been as bad as it is today. It's like Animal Farm. It's Stalinist. George Orwell had it correct from 1948 when he wrote 1984. It is very bad today. In closing, we are in danger of losing the country that our founding fathers put together. And trust me, sir, it is the left, not the right, that is killing off our country as we know it. 246 years of America are set to go down the drain because of the hard left, the left in general. They want to kill off the United States of America. They hate us patriotic Americans. They do.
Well, Keith, I appreciate your call, and you're not going to hear me fighting you much in this one. All I'm going to say is yes. But the establishment, this wouldn't be able to happen if the establishment right wasn't in their pocket also, or wasn't totally okay with this happening, right? There is a rebellion in the right, which is trying to change this. There's a small rebellion in the left, but it's tiny and being crushed. I know that because I live in New York City, and there are some. It's just minuscule because of what you said, Keith. If you come out of line, you get canceled. You get trashed. So they're like, you know what? Let's yell at Keith instead. They'll get him and leave me alone. So, but it is a problem. I'm not going to, I agree. I feel the only way of making this change is by having more conversations. Now, it may sound crazy, and some may think I'm nuts or naive. And maybe I am. I'm okay if I'm naive. I'm okay if I'm too optimistic. Because the opposite is what Keith says, which means the ball game's over. I don't want to accept that. And if that makes me naive, I accept. No worries. I do not want to accept that the ball game is over. I want to believe that we do have a chance of having the right conversations and turning the right people back to sanity. I feel like it can be done. It just takes thousands of conversations and something else. It takes resilience to come back from loss. And that's not easy. Larry Sharp, WYSL Radio in Rochester, New York. Here on A Free Solution, 585-346-3000. Reach out to me, either through phone or the chat. Back after the break.
Pray for the USA. AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll be looking at partly cloudy skies. Kind of nice out there. We'll drop into the upper 50s and low 60s. On Wednesday, briefly warmer, more humid in the 80s. And we got to keep an eye on the sky in the afternoon and evening. Could be a strong to severe thunderstorm as a cold front moves through. Behind that front, breezy and much cooler with some windswept showers in the 50s and 60s Thursday. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Hi, Tom Hamilton here, President of Hamilton Wealth Management. Both the stock and bond markets have had quite a nice run since the 2008-2009 market crash. We sure don't want to give it all back again. Today, I think we need a different approach to investing in wealth preservation. Hamilton Wealth Management is an independent investment and wealth management firm located in Pittsford, New York. Our clients are successful individuals, retirees, and business owners who don't want to lose what they've worked so hard to save. If you have at least $250,000 in savings and investments, I'd like a few minutes of your time to show you what we're doing differently at Hamilton Wealth Management. So please call our office or visit our website, hamiltonwealthmanagement.com.
To meet with
Okay,
Mr.
we have a
Hamilton,
Walter
call
from
585-381-9870
Colorado.
or go to
You're welcome.
hamiltonwealthmanagement.com. That's hamiltonwealthmanagement.com. Advisory services offered through Wealth Plan Partners. Securities offered through Securities America Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Hamilton Wealth Management and Securities America companies are separate entities.
Are you looking to update the kitchen, bath, or flooring in your home, but don't know where to begin? Whether it's cabinetry, carpeting, hardwood flooring, tile, or kitchen and bathroom remodeling, Claridge Design Center in Chi-Lai Paul Plaza is the place to start. Locally owned with over 25 years in business, Claridge custom designs and builds quality remodeling projects throughout Rochester and Monroe County. At Claridge, the visions and ideas you have for your home are developed with the experience.
All right, so after Walter, we have Craig Miles from Clinton.
Receive at Claridge is second.
When you're done with Walter, I'll put him in. So just want to give you a heads up that you have him stacked. Thanks.
Claridge team. See examples of their finished work at claridgedesigncenter.com.
Geneseo Hardware and Rental has all your project needs. They have a large selection of hardware, plumbing, electrical, home goods, lawn and garden, plus much more. Geneseo Hardware offers Valspar paint, Cabot stains, a wide selection of rental items, plus screen and window repair. Get personalized service. Open 7 days a week. Geneseo Hardware and Rental, Route 20A next to Wegmans Plaza. Visit geneseo-rental.com.
Now offering lumber.
I'm Stephen Nichols. Since 1984, Nichols has been family operated and a trusted name for home service. We provide plumbing and electrical installation and service, and I am thrilled to announce that we are growing and looking to add to our scope of services. We are looking for a professional handyman who is skilled in drywall repair, carpentry, and more. If you are interested in joining the best team in Rochester, call 585-299-3101 or visit nicholeselectric.com to fill out an application.
Now is the time to make sure your child is receiving education, not indoctrination. Archangel School is academically challenging, Common Core, and CRT-free, a brighter school experience that honors your traditional American values. If you're looking for an affordable Catholic faith-based school for your child from preschool through grade 12, come to Archangel School's open house Thursday, October 6th from 6 to 7:30. Enroll now at archangelschool.com or call 585-247-1112.
Tom Walls didn't invent the cheeseburger, we perfected it. Fresh ground steak pressed out daily using a glass pie plate. I'm Michaela from Tom Walls Avon, and I want to cook you the best cheeseburger in Rochester. Wait, best in the world. Wait, the universe. Tom Walls.
A free solution on the WYSL stations.
It is Larry Sharp. Yes, I am back. WYSL, Rochester, New York, a free solution. If you want to watch my other show, you can if you want to. It's called The Sharp Way. Check it out. It's online. It's on all the interweb things. Or just check me out. Larry Sharp. That's it. It's a Sharp with an E. And the E stands for entertaining? I'll take that. Whatever. Want to grab a call if I can. I want to grab Walter from Colorado. How are you, sir?
Pretty good, pretty good. I remember meeting you personally the last time you were in Colorado for a LP convention.
Oh, nice.
And so I wanted to mention that you, as a veteran, probably remember the best defense against fearful stupids is to have a set of pre-made decisions, such as
yes.
honesty is the best policy, and I choose to live free or die, or when ambushed and surrounded, charge the machine gun nest.
Absolutely.
And then train until those are available to you even when you can't think.
I completely agree 100%. I think it does make sense, which is one of the reasons why we should be having conversations with people we disagree with, right? If you've watched what I do, I will very often go right into the belly of the beast with people who are, think I'm a horrible, terrible person. And I'll have conversation with them. And I'll try to be nice. And sometimes my audience gets really mad at me. They're like, why don't you yell back at them? Why'd you let them get away with this? Why didn't you scream and yell? Because I want the conversation to keep going. Because I want not just me to be able to hear all of their arguments and to deal with other issues, but I also want everyone watching to see all the issues and concerns and realize that you can still keep talking. I'm still here, even though we go through all of this. And that's the scenario training I think you're talking about, Walter. The more people see it and get it, the more confident they become. And the only way you can get around fear is confidence, to your point. Either someone gives you confidence or you find your own self-confidence. And I think stuff like this helps.
And I think an important thing to point out about what you're saying is that by talking to other people, you get to test those pre-made decisions and maybe add a new one, like don't blow your cool when the heat's on, or maybe even replace something.
I agree. I think it's exactly correct. I talk about lots of conversations because once conversation ends, there's nothing left but violence. And since I've already said I am naive, sorry, Keith, I'm naive. I don't think we're done yet. So I'm going to keep talking because I think if I can turn enough people, we can turn this country around. It's only going to happen if I can be transparent. And if you've watched me in the past, when I make mistakes, when I fall down, when my plans aren't perfect, I say it, right? I don't say, I have the perfect plan that will solve everything. I say this will make things better. How about you? I think it's a better way of going about the conversation.
We got 3 more on hold.
So I'll sign off by saying, yes, Sifu, for your teachings.
Thank you so much, my friend. Walter, thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Craig.
So I think that Walter has a very good point. I agree with what he's saying. Let me go on the call if I can. I have Craig from Clinton. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Larry?
What's going on? I think we have an echo again.
Say again.
Oh, there we go. It's gone. Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah. Just calling about.
It's because I'm talking back to you. We have 2 more on hold.
I was wondering if you were thinking of anyone in particular, because I can think of, well, two people running for governor right now. That's all they talk is lies. They both like, well, I mean, that sounds like an exaggeration, but it's really not. I mean, Lee Zeldin the other day was in some parade in Harlem looking for the black vote, and just before that, he was doing an interview on a radio station, and they said, "What are you going to do to help black people?" He says, "Well, my daughter and I, we ate jerk chicken this one time," and the co-host was like, "We just asked you how you're going to help black people, and you're like, jerk chicken?" He's like, "That's a horrible segue. That's bad." He called him out right to his face. So I guess my point in that is these people are clueless. Maybe they don't think they're lying, but they definitely don't have your interest in mind.
Well, that's true, but that goes back to the fear, right? And Patty's been in the chat. I watch you, Patty. I see you. She's been in the chat talking about fear. And I think that's the key, right? Right now, people are so afraid of the other, they just don't care. So if I'm so worried that the guy on the right will win if I lean left, I gotta vote blue no matter what, because the guy on the right will win and we'll all die. Or if I lean right, I gotta vote Republican because the blue guy will come and kill us all. Whatever. I mean, I think that's common. And what I'm saying is the country only wins if the country goes gold. If the country keeps going red and then blue, it just keeps making people unhappy. It keeps making people angry. And eventually we stop talking, and then it's violence. I would like to not do that. The answer is going gold.
I agree. And I mean, it's by design that they keep you fighting, because if you fight each other, you don't fight them.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to fix anything.
100%.
I wish people would recognize that. I hope more people are coming on board with that idea.
Well, if they want to, Craig, they can always go to LarrySharp.com. That is an option for them.
I mean, yeah, if they want answers and not to like just hate each other, yeah, that's the perfect thing. I would recommend that, like, highly.
There we go. I love it. Craig, thanks for the call. I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, sir.
So I think that Walter and Craig,
Dave
are on the same page. They're both thinking about how do we fix this, and I love that. Let me grab one more call if I can. I have Dave. How are you?
It's good. Yourself, Larry. You're sounding great.
Oh, I appreciate it. What's going on?
Oh, just very poignant topic. And then you are exactly right. Not to blow smoke or anything, but we need to look at people as people. I don't care color, political persuasion, whatever. They're still people. They still have hopes, dreams, fears, and we got to open up those lines of conversation. This didn't happen to America overnight. When I was a kid,
thank you, Dave. You're so right.
Yeah, I thought the Blues and the Reds had the same goals, just different ways of accomplishing them. Now that, I am no longer a child, I don't think it's a child.
And we have one more on hold.
I see different things happening, but it was good back then. We got to open up. I mean, I had a great conversation with a woman at a wedding this weekend. Didn't know her from Adam. She had a great little grandson, and we were probably as different as you could get. And the more we talked, the more we found out we had in common. It was just amazing.
Yes.
But that's where it's got to start, at the individual conversation level. Just because you like Fords and I like Chevys doesn't mean we got to hate each other.
Well, if you like Chevys, yes, it does. I'm kidding.
Okay. How about that?
But no, I think, Dave, your point is, again, I'm so happy that the last couple of callers have all thought the same way. It gives me some hope to feel that people are kind of agreeing with this. And I like the idea, right? If the more we have, I got to go one step further, Dave. If you had the conversation with a woman and it didn't go well, what if she had said things like, no, you don't believe the thing I believe, whatever. I'm hyper conservative or I'm hyper liberal. And if you don't believe me, you're a bad person. And that does happen. You will find people who are so deep in that world, they can't even talk to you. If that had happened, Dave, the question is, would you have given up? I feel like because you called it, you wouldn't have. But you can imagine how people would just give up, right?
Oh, yeah. I've had a conversation with a guy I've known for 30 years. And he's I call him a Branch Covidian, and he calls me an anti-vaxxer, right? But we've got 98 other things in common. And I'm like, Keith, let's not focus on that, buddy. Let's just get along and talk about what we enjoy talking about, And he's, oh, yeah, you got a point, 30 years. Yeah, so you've got your feelings on that subject, and so do I, but we still have so much in common.
Well, you brought up a very valid point, Dave, right? Many of the shows I've been on and interviews that I've had, when I find something that's in common with the other, I often try to say, well, we agree on this, right? Well, we agree on this, right? And if you watch any of these, you can tell if someone's a good faith actor by whether or not they will make that concession. If they'll go, you know what? Yeah, on that we agree. But if they don't, if they change the subject, if they go, well, no, because of this, then you know their goal is just to hurt. And that's the key. They can say, Larry, I disagree with you on this, but on this, we're good. That's where you find your ideologue.
I've also found out in my older years here, too, as much as hating and all these negative feelings are contagious, so's a smile and so's a good attitude. And sometimes that actually drives a person more crazy than countering their hate with your hate.
Well, you bring up another point, too, right? If you're doing it in an arena like this, whether it's online, radio, TV, in a large crowd, sometimes you're never going to get that person to believe you or even come even 1 inch closer to you. But you're not just talking to them for that person. You're talking to them for all the people who are watching, right? They're watching and saying, wait a minute, this guy Dave thinks A, and this guy Larry thinks B. Let me see which one I think. And if Dave is a nice guy and Larry's a jerk, they start thinking Dave is right.
But Dave's probably the jerk, and I think Larry's a nice guy.
Well, whichever. One of us. I guess we'll figure it out. Dave, thanks so much for the call. I appreciate it.
Great show. Keep it up. Thanks.
Thank you. Great set of callers. Made me actually feel good. I like that. So tell me, am I naive? Am I too optimistic? I hope not. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharp, Rochester, New York, WYSL Free Solution back. I will get your chat too and your calls after the break.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech?
Okay, so we have John from Rochester next.
Customer service or
Yeah, if and when you get the echo, it's because I've unmuted this to tell you who's on the phone.
They just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business.
So if people complain, just ignore it because it sounds kind of dumb on the radio because there's no echo on the radio.
The local team at SimpleTech has your best.
No, see, the problem is what happens when I unmute this, you get a double feed to your video.
Helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match
Oh, you're welcome. And plus they hear everything I say, so be careful what I say.
Innovations are called today for a consultation at 585.
Now, I will forewarn you, John from Rochester is a diehard Bills fan, so if you want to score a point with him, you can say go Bills at the end.
As a veteran of the United States military, I can finally get the opportunity to enjoy special events, things that we couldn't afford, thanks to Ventix. Every empty seat at a concert, a game, or a play is a missed opportunity to say thanks to a veteran and service member. We could give our veterans a special event where they too can create their own cherished memories. Visit Ventix.org. Find out how you can make a difference in a veteran's life.
WYSL. Getting podcasts of your favorite WYSL shows is easier and better than ever. Use your favorite device, PC, mobile, or tablet to visit WYSL1040.com. Simply click on the podcast tab to select, listen, download, and share instantly. Works great with any wireless device. No additional apps are necessary. Podcasts of all our local shows are easier to access and play, so share them with your friends. And thanks for listening anywhere, anytime to the voice of liberty, the WYSL stations. A free solution on the WYSL stations.
Larry Sharp, I am back here. WYSL, Rochester, New York, on a free solution. Thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. We've been chatting about some, positive stuff. I started talking about transparency, and it all worked out well. Look at that. I was open about my past and I had a bunch of great calls. I'm so happy. Let me grab another caller if I could before I go to chat. This is John from Rochester. How are you, John?
Hey, Larry, I'm doing good. You're a good man. You know that? I know
thank you.
You are. Listen, Keith brought up some pretty good points, but I got to tell you, it's not the Democrats, it's not the left, it's the media.
Okay.
The media
the
is
media.
the problem. They are so biased for the left and Democratic Party, and in your case, sometimes the Republican Party.
But sometimes, yes, it's true, yes. But to Keith's point, if you go back 50 years, right, end of the Vietnam era, the right was the worst. They were the ones literally just stopping people and censoring. But that has flipped completely. Now the left is far worse than the right now. It's totally flipped.
I'll give you a good example. I'm a good example of that. I campaigned for George McGovern in 1972. I voted
there
for
we go,
Jimmy.
So you know.
I voted for, and at that time, George McGovern was a real leftist in people's eyes, but today he would be a moderate Democrat.
Yes.
And I was a big supporter and voter. I voted for Jimmy Carter twice. But I learned that the media, in part, has used their power as a propaganda tool for the left and the Democrats. So it's not the Democrats and the left; it's the media. If they would portray things fairly, it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, and I would go one step further. Fractured media makes it even harder. Meaning now, if you're over 40 or over 50, you probably still watch TV news. If you're under 40, you probably don't. So now even that's broken up. So now I've got each person into their own echo chamber. And if the echo chamber is telling you, well, government is right, and see, Kathy Hochul loves you, or whatever other thing they tell you, then you start thinking, maybe she does. Everyone's telling me this. Oh my God. I turn on ABC, they tell me Kathy Hochul loves me. I turn on CBS, Kathy Hochul loves me. Maybe she does. I think you're right. However, there's a big however here. I think more people are looking to alternative media and trying to find more answers. I do think it's happening, not as fast as I would like it, though.
Well, I personally listen to
another call on home.
NPR every day in the morning, and then a lot of times during the afternoon. And NPR and we have their affiliate here in Rochester, WXXI. Very leftist, very they throw out the propaganda for the left and Democratic Party all the time. They beat down the conservatives and the Republicans, and to a certain extent the libertarians. But it's these are the outlets that have to be reformed, or in NPR's case, defunded unless they reform themselves.
I agree. Defunding that is a good idea. If you believe that NPR is a good radio station or a good media outlet, you should pay for it either with advertising or subscription. I don't mind it at all. It's your money. Do as you see fit. But our taxpayer dollars should not be spending money for that. That's for sure.
Exactly. And I'm not a fan of CNBC or MSNBC or ABC, CBS, and all that stuff. But at least they're privately funded.
Absolutely.
And this is America. It's the First Amendment. They can be privately funded. But I'll be darned if I'm going to pay my tax dollars to fund a leftist propaganda machine like NPR.
Yes, I agree. Wow. John, thank you so much for your call. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good one. I'm going to grab a couple of chat real fast. Patty's been on my chat a bit today, and she's talking about the idea of how do we deal with lies and people being afraid. And Patty had a friend of mine who was a psychotherapist. His name was Sherman. Great guy. Love him tremendously. He told me something a long time ago, and he was right. He said truth. And when that doesn't work, more truth. And when that doesn't work, more truth. So I would say, copying my friend Sherman, it's honesty and transparency. And when that fails, which it will, to Keith's point, more honesty, more transparency. And when that fails again, more honesty, more transparency. If we are ever going to
Joe,
trust the media again,
Schenectady.
as John said, we can, but it will take lots of transparency. They'll have to admit their failures, and then we won't believe them for a while. But eventually, we will. It will eventually happen. Also, someone's asking me in a chat about DNA tests. I took it. I did. And my mother, who raised me, was a German immigrant. And I thought, my God, I'm German. Then she said, I'm adopted. Oh my God, I'm not German. What am I? DNA test came in. I'm German. I don't know how that worked. Total luck. So the white side of my family is British and German. And the black side of my family is from central Western Africa, like Cameroon/Nigeria and South Africa. I'm black on my father's side, white on my mother's side. So I appreciate those two questions. Let me grab one more call. The phones are going crazy. How are you?
Good.
Joe from Schenectady.
I wanted to ask, because I just found out about you like a couple of weeks ago. And
Joe, I'm doing good.
You have some really good ideas. And I was wondering, is the Libertarian Party like the way the Liberal Party used to be back in the 60s, where they're liberals, but they like free speech and that sort of thing? Because the emphasis on freedom is pretty cool with the Libertarian Party. I'm finding it's actually it's actually a pretty cool party to be.
I would agree. You know? I've been a member for over 10 years, so I'm with you. Obviously, I'm biased. Yes, you know, the word liberal does not mean what it used to mean. You're correct. If you look at a liberal, or more of a classical liberal, again from the 60s and 70s, yes, that is far more what the Libertarian Party is. However, if you take liberal for today's definition, that's not really us now.
Yeah. What do you think about theft now when it comes to like people going in and shoplifting and stuff? How would you treat that in terms of like bail when it comes to letting them off?
Here's the issue. I don't want to go to a magical world of what we made
90 seconds.
But I do want to say this. Bail reform should have been focused on first-time offenders. If we had focused it on first-time offenders, that gives someone a second chance if they screwed up, but it keeps the career criminals in jail. That would have solved all the problems. And that's what I said early on. If you focus it on first-time offenders, bail reform works. The career criminals stay in jail, and the guy or gal who made a mistake gets a second chance. That's how I'd handle bail reform.
Excellent. Well, good luck. I hope you get a lot of votes. I hope you get your 130,000, if not more. And I'm hoping you
1 minute.
Because I was looking at the election from 2018, and there were like 3 or 4 people that were third party.
Yep. So I got a shot at this, Joe. You are correct. And for those who don't know, I need to get 130,000 votes on the Libertarian line. And if you're listening, and if you think I make sense, you need to write my name in, because the Republicans and conservatives have thrown me off the ballot. So you have to write my name in. You need to go to LarrySharp.com, check out my stuff, and on November 8th, write in Larry Sharp. That is the answer. Joe, thank you so much for that call. Guys, I want to say thank you all so much for the time that you gave me today. Give me a little chunk of your afternoon. And I'll be back very soon. I will see you all very soon.